Our modern world is making us all less interesting and in turn, less happy. There are so many slow-moving problems that are brewing in our world that nobody is paying attention to. Heck, there are so many slow-moving problems in the world that many people are paying attention to, but the mere fact that they are slow-moving is making it so our societies are doing nothing about them. The easiest example to bring up would be climate change. Yeah, we know it's happening, but how much is anyone really doing about it? We know it's going to totally fuck us all over, but we really don't do much about it because it's not really a problem yet. And the fact that it is slow moving means it's low on our priorities of things to fix because there are other problems that are not slow moving and right in front of our faces. My kid needs a good education. I have to make sure I'm not fired. I need to exercise so I don't become morbidly obese. Now, maybe that one more specifically applies to me, but the point is immediate problems with immediate actionable responses are much easier to see and are much more pressing time-wise, but are not necessarily more important. My becoming obese or not is certainly less important than global warming, but I try to do something about the former, whereas honestly, I do almost nothing about the latter. What I'm driving at is that there are other slow-moving problems in the world that we don't even see, yet alone do anything about. And for me, one of the most important slow-moving problems that no one is pinning down is that we are all becoming less interesting. The internet at this point has been around for quite some time, but the thing that it has morphed into is much newer. With the advent of social networking sites and mind-numbing apps, much of what the internet provides is entertainment. But it's not interesting, and thus we as humans have become less interesting. Okay, let me be clear by what I mean by entertainment. Entertainment is something that gets rid of boredom. Sometimes entertaining things are thought-provoking, but that certainly isn't necessarily true. And the one thing that is required by my definition of entertainment is that the thing providing entertainment gets rid of your boredom. Things like a bubble pop app or YouTube videos where a guy vlogs himself walking around and doing whatever the random shit he does. These things are entertaining, but certainly not thought-provoking. Now, through this whole video, it's going to sound like I'm being disparaging about things I call entertainment. But it's not that entertainment is altogether bad. In all honesty, I spend a lot of my life just escaping boredom. I want to watch a dumb video when I'm on the subway and I just have 5 minutes to kill. After I spent 2 or 3 hours outlining and making a video script, which actually requires concentrating, I just want to turn off my mind and watch a shitty sitcom on TV. There are certainly times when I just want to be entertained, and the existence of this entertainment isn't bad. I'm not a bad person for watching entertaining stuff, but the real problem is that our modern world pushes us to spend more and more of our free time just trying to be entertained, instead of spending our free time consuming interesting content. By my definition, interesting things are thought-provoking. Interesting things are layered and have depths of meaning to them. Interesting things pique your curiosity and require analysis. Reading a book about the life of Sigmund Freud, having a discussion with a friend about politics, or watching a documentary about the Industrial Revolution are all examples of interesting things. The Industrial Revolution is something that requires you to think about how the world was and how the world became what it is today. It requires an analysis of the world around us and can pique your curiosities about how it could be that humans went from using stone tools to being able to transfer huge amounts of data through the air. A documentary about the Industrial Revolution requires us to think. But our world is increasingly becoming about entertainment and not about being interesting or leading interesting lives. And this is certainly due to the two-pronged problem that entertainment is getting easier to make and easier to consume. Due to the ubiquity of smartphones, the consumption of entertainment can happen at any time we so desire. But it's also the fact that anyone can make entertainment now. It takes only that same smartphone to make a YouTube video or an Instagram post. Anyone can be an entertainer and anyone can be entertained at any moment. On the flip side, this technology also is making it possible to live a more interesting life. Instead of watching a YouTube video of some guy farting the national anthem, we could watch a lecture on the space-time continuum. Not that I personally have. But even better yet, we could watch a person explain what the hell the space-time continuum is in regular, plain English. That's really the beauty of the world we're living in, is that we can choose in what ways we want to be intrigued. I'm not restricted only to the most arcane and difficult to grasp content. I can find a source that finds my intellectual level and familiarity with any subject that I want. Not only is this a great era for entertainment, but it's also a great time for interesting content. But the problem is we tend to shun the interesting in favor of the entertaining, and it's not difficult to see why. Interesting things are hard. It's hard to watch a professor give a lecture about physics, and it's even hard to listen to someone speak about physics in layman terms that I can understand, because these things require thinking, which is difficult. Watching the guy on YouTube fart the national anthem is easier, and it's simply human nature to avoid difficult and challenging things in favor of easy things, even when it hurts us in the long run. And that's my point. It does hurt us. There are some core things that help make us happy. And one of those things is spending time with other humans, especially other humans we like. But what do we do when we spend time with other humans? We often eat with our friends, we go out and drink with our friends, we do a lot of stuff with our friends that covers a broad gamut of experiences. But before, after, or during, whatever we're doing with our friends, we communicate with them. And conversation is our main form of communication. What I'm getting at here is that time spent with other humans is one of the pillars of human happiness. And the time that we spend with other humans is often spent in conversation. And what kind of conversations do you have when you're living an uninteresting life? What kind of conversations do you have when you spend all of your free time playing bubble pop and watching vloggers with selfie sticks taking videos of themselves as they walk around the streets of New York? My answer would be not a very good conversation. And this is the way that we're all heading. I may be exaggerating the importance of good conversation in human life, but if you're with me on this, you could see that our addiction to immediate, uninteresting, non-thought-provoking entertainment is making us all less interesting, which is in turn making us have boring conversation, which is really one of the fundamentals of life. Live an interesting life.